So as Orin makes his way over here to join us, Orin is a Jackson native, graduated from Madison High School in 2000, studied a little bit of architecture at Mississippi State, and he has been producing electronic music for over a decade. But Orin, you've just recently gotten into doing live performances over maybe the past four years?
I guess I would consider myself a native of Mississippi at this point. I moved here from Houston maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So
okay.
Really, I mean...
When you were in high school, you moved here?
I moved here my last 2 years of high school I spent in Mississippi.
Okay.
All that time before I was in Houston. But, I mean, I see what people like about this place. And there's things, I found what to like about it.
What do you like about it?
Everybody is a lot more laid back. When I lived in Houston, everybody was always in a hurry and all the time. Nobody really had a reason to say anything to each other. Like when I first moved here, people would say, "Hey," like in the parking lot, and I didn't know them, and I'd be looking at them like, "Who is this person? Do I know this person? Why are they saying hi to me?" And yeah, but I got used to it. I've become a lot more friendlier.
So you've been creating electronic music for a long time.
Yeah, I started out producing. It started out. I just wanted to make scary sound effects for science fiction video games, and I discovered on my grandma's computer. This was before I had any computer at all. That you can pull up 2 Windows recorders at the same time and hit play on one and hit record on the other and just infinitely resample a sound until you get like 18 different sounds until it just sounds awesome. So that was what I initially set out to do. So I was really into Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails at the time. I liked the dark horror movie / science fiction sort of theme. That's how I imagine my sort of theme. It's like a science fiction movie, like the soundtrack to it, or maybe a science fiction video game or something, because I like those too. But I had the equipment to do that, and then my friends from across the street happened to be some Dirty South rappers, and they came and see me and saw the stuff I had and showed me their drum machine they had. I forgot what it was. I don't remember what it was. But so I made some songs on the drum machine he left over there, and then I got really into the idea, so I got my own drum machine. It was a DR-202, and I helped them. Well, I made all the music and the beats, and they rapped.
You remember their names?
And I made an album. Huh?
You remember their names?
Well, the name of the group was Lowdown All-Stars.
Nice.
I guess specifically, or technically, I'm a member of Lowdown All-Stars, even though this was more than 10 years ago.
We'll put that on your Wikipedia page.
We were all 18 years old, and his name was, the main guy was Fred Shaw. He's a really good rapper. I still have a hard time coming across rappers that are as good as him, even now. But he actually went to college and had a baby, and I really never saw him again. But I mean, that happens to a lot of people. The baby is not a bad thing. I would never suggest such a thing, you know, regardless of where it takes them otherwise. And there was a couple other ones. There was Ben and Marcus. I never got their last names. I don't know, but yeah. Y'all can come and find me if you want to. We can make some music again.
Can do a
reunion? Is that the word for it?
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
Reunion, yeah.
The reunion of the Lowdown All-Stars.
And
So tell us a little bit. I mean, we've had DJs on the show before. I want to make sure people listening, because this is not a video, you know, understand that Orin's not a DJ. I mean, if you could tell us a little bit about all the tools you've got over here on the table.
Okay. What I do is, like I said, I started out as a producer, and it was only about 2 or 3 years ago I decided I wanted to go live with my own stuff, because I saw where the direction the whole music industry was going, which was recordings were being given away for free. They basically just served as like watching a preview for a movie, hoping that you'd go see the show one day. So I saw this, and really the idea sounded fun to me anyway. And it turns out, as I produced my music, what it was is I would have, you have a sampler. A lot of samplers and synthesizers have an integrated sequencer that you can loop a MIDI signal, and how do you say it? Basically, I would piece together all these sources coming from all these different synthesizers and samplers on the fly to make the whole song, to make the last final recording. And that was just how I did it. But when I would have friends over, they watched me do it, and they're like, whoa, dude, that's really entertaining. Watching you piece all these like weird sounds together, I have no idea what you're doing. So really the whole, the idea to perform live also came from people asking me why I don't perform live. And eventually I was doing it by myself on my own, and eventually people began to request to like watch it more and more. And that being the case, I had a house, I had a lot of parties, and I found myself performing in front of groups of people like once every 3 days or something like that, which was really good practice. But yeah, the equipment over here, each one is a sound module / groove box / synthesizer / sampler.
Well, for our tech heads, why don't you list the different pieces you have?
The main one I like to make songs on is a Roland MC909. That's something that's used a lot by the hip-hop community. Another one I have is a Korg Electribe SX. That one's used a lot in more like house music and stuff like that. Those are the two I feel like I've truly mastered. The other two I just got in the past 2 or 3 years to enhance my live experience. Because since these other two machines are older, they have very limited sample space. So I can't really put a lot of long vocals in any sort of recorded audio. All you're hearing is sequenced synthesizers the whole time. I guess I should point out that everything you hear is completely original, written by me note by note on the piano. That's how I get all these melodies. I play the piano until I get a tune I really like, and I put it in the machine and make the instrument sound exactly how I want it to sound. And then that leaves me the opportunity to really forget about it and just know that that loop is there perfect whenever I need it. And it makes it so that I can continuously make more and more and more new music without having to worry about, well, how am I going to remember this? How am I going to remember this? Because all the time I'll wake up in the morning and I'll push play on a machine and I don't remember making that song. Like, I'll be like, whoa, okay. But just great, because it makes me think of all the wasted moments people like guitar players and drummers must have. They have these amazing moments with their friends where they come up with these awesome guitar riffs. I've heard it. I've lived with musicians most of my life, and we all jam together. I didn't get a chance to mention that I also have experience playing with alternative rock bands, but mainly I like rappers, and I've been messing around with the electronic dance music community a lot lately. The other machine here, the Korg KP3 and the Roland SP555, they're more about like sampling like long bits of audio, which is something the other machines don't do. But I'll admit I'm not as good at those. I'm practicing, but it's one of those things you can constantly always get better at. And I'll never feel like I'm good enough at all. But what you're hearing basically when you watch me live is you're watching the sequencing / composition part of the production process. So it's kind of like you're watching me produce a song, given all this production equipment out in front of you. So, and every time you see a show, it's fully improvised. So you'll never see the same show again, ever. And I'm just kind of making up all the pieces and parts and putting it all together as you go.
You know, you talked about enjoying playing with rock bands at times and rappers. You're one of the few electronic musicians I've seen that has an interest in collaboration. You know, you have a percussionist or drummer that plays sometimes. I've seen you with a performance artist or a dancer. I've even seen you put a microphone out and say, whoever wants to get on this microphone, get on it. And I'm wondering, you know, how that, what's your philosophy that leads to your interest in being open to that?
It definitely is a struggle. It's an internal struggle because I sit at home and I practice this stuff. I've been practicing for years and years and years. And sometimes it can be really, it's definitely the result of multiple offers to collaborate. People want to come to me and collaborate. This seems to be one of the way people react to liking my music specifically, is they come up to me and they feel like they can add more to it and want to collaborate with me. But the fact of the matter is, if I said yes to every one of those people, I would have like 3 guitar players and 2 drummers and
an orchestra,
3 vocalists
Orin Sheffield
and a violinist and all these people all up on stage, and that obviously would be too much. Well, and it's not, the main reason is that when I sit by myself in this room, I'm making a full song in my head. That's how I'm adjusting all the levels and the balance and everything. So it's pretty easy to add like one thing and end up with too much. And but the collaborating with the microphone thing, that occurred almost by accident with the rappers, because we would try to record loops of raps in my Chaos Pad, and in the meantime we would end up just jamming and playing, like me doing my thing and them doing their thing, and just do like a whole performance for an hour with everybody in my room watching. And we figured out the girls like to do it too, and everybody likes to hear their voice looped over and chopped up and stuck in with the song. And it's kind of, if you come and see me play, it will be one way or the other, depending on the situation.
Nice. You use the word ohm. Like I've seen it. You have a banner that you'll hang when you perform live. Online. There's an animated graphic that I assume that you created that.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering about the use of that word, but also, and well, maybe you can start by talking about.
Well, let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Before you go any further, I've heard this before. If you look at the symbol, it's also sort of a creation out of the word Orin. So O-R-I-N. But people have been alerting it to my presence that it also appears to say Ohm, but so far I haven't heard anything about Ohm that I disagree with. So,
yeah. But it was accidental.
It was accidental.
Came about.
And it looks like Ohm. I guess I'm okay with that. That's about peace and balance,
you could do worse,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't get into the definition of Ohm, but
okay.
Peace and balance is inside of Ohm for sure.
Really? Okay, cool.
Well, it's a Hindu religious term that is used to reference all that exists, but all that exists is a sound, and so Ohm is the sound of everything existing.
Okay. Yeah, that's great then.
Live with that.
That's the best accident that could have happened.
So, in this animated symbol, I'm curious, because it actually spins it in 360 degrees, and inside of this, behind the Orin symbol is a tank and like a mech warrior.
Yeah. From my video game days.
Okay.
I mean, that's basically...
How old is that? How long have you been using that?
Well...
How did that all come together? Is this a symbol of you?
Well, when I was younger, I was a visual artist mainly before I was a musician. And also, I've always loved video games my whole life. So, all the models you see on there, I created, polygon by polygon, surface by surface, line by line on SketchUp. It's this program. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I learned how to use it kind of in architecture school. we were making houses with it, and you could walk through the houses in 3D and stuff. So, and we were supposed to make little video presentations of our house. So I just carried that skill on over, and I like to use it to make graphics. And it actually ends up looking, with the cell shading look of the SketchUp program, it actually ends up looking very video game-like, which is very appropriate, because some of my most heart-pounding moments have been while trying to finish the final boss to a video game and stuff when I'm a kid. And, you know, boom, boom, boom. It's some of the biggest heart-pounding moments any of us ever really get these days.
Me and my 5-year-old son just recently beat Bowser on Mario Wii. That was his first ever boss kill.
Oh, yeah?
And, yeah, so it was a special time.
Guess he was pretty excited.
Man.
Yeah?
Yeah. But, so yes, I'm there with you.
Totally.
Well, you know, I really appreciate you coming on, especially performing on the show. Is there somewhere online people can check out your stuff?
If you want the most recent stuff, it always ends up on my SoundCloud account first, and that would be www.soundcloud.com/Orin, Orin, Sheffield, Sheffield. It would be really nice to just have Orin, but those 4-letter names were taken a long time ago in the computer world. It's hard to get a 4-letter name of anything. So,
well, definitely go online and check out Orin's music, and get on Facebook and friend him and follow his musings, which actually dovetail nicely with Ohm, I would say.
Ohm? Oh yeah, did that sound like Ohm music?
No, but you have Ohm postings. Hey, our sound engineer is notifying us that Ohm is a measurement of electrical voltage.
That's just as appropriate as the other Ohm, actually.
True. Gosh.
Wow.
Here we are at the intersection of. Yeah, I know.
Destiny is.
We got to get a microphone in the booth.
Yeah. Destiny has made itself evident with Ohm.
It's true, and actually, I do think it's interesting in your music. You ask if I hear Ohm in your music, but you know, you yourself in your vocal cadence, the way you present yourself, it's very even and calm, and a lot of your music, like it makes me feel energetic, it makes me want to dance, but at the same time, there's something that's even about it. Like I feel like I'm more inside of it. You know, like a womb, you know, than I am being assaulted by it, you know.
Totally. That sounds so great. I got to remember that one.
No doubt. Well,
my music makes you feel like you're in a womb.
I'll write that blurb on the back of your next album for you.
It'll end up on my Facebook status tonight, probably, as I get more drunk.
Well, I do appreciate you coming out, and I think it's great what you're doing in Jackson, and it's interesting for me to see you in an electronic music setting, bringing in a performative piece and a collaborative piece. I think it's really interesting, and I think there's a certain community that kind of comes up around you that reflects that. So,
totally, I find all these people. I just kind of really sit and do what I do, and people put themselves around me, and they seem to be okay with me doing what I do, so I keep doing what I do with people around me. But otherwise, I'm a very introverted person. I really don't go approaching people and trying to hang out with people very often. But I'm very accepting of everyone. Like, pretty much any person, regardless of any negative things they have about them, I can figure out in my mind their justification for being the way they are and find that good thing in them.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right on, man. I think we'll go out on that. That's the moral of our story tonight on Mississippi Happening, your arts and culture podcast. And this is our new theme song.
Yeah. The 3-note theme song. Sometimes it's 4 notes if I don't hit the ignore button soon enough.
Hey, you can't always ignore quick enough.
Yeah.
We record live every second and fourth Tuesday at the Pizza Shack on Old Canton Road. Join us from 7 to 9 p.m. If you see a Pizza Shack, pull over immediately and buy some pizza. And we are out.